Joanides also had an alias, right? A cryptonym is your name in a communication. An alias is what you use on the street when you're talking to your agent. So on the street, Joanides introduced himself as Howard or Mr. Howard. When the review board first asked the CIA for information about Howard, because that was all I had at that point.
Right.
I talked to a bunch of guys in Miami who knew Joanides and told me all about him, and they said,
"Yeah, I saw your Miami New Times article."
Yeah, so but they didn't know his real name. They just knew him as Howard, and so they described him and all that. So I went to the review board went to the CIA and said, "Could we have the records on this person named Howard?" And the CIA wrote back, and I can give you the memo. And they said, "We find no record of his existence. He was just a routing indicator. It didn't refer to a real person."
Right.
So this whole story, 15 years of litigation, when the CIA was first asked about it, they disavowed any knowledge of it.
Right.
And pretended like none of this ever happened, which is another point why the litigation is necessary. Because they went into this thing lying from the get-go, and they lied to the JFK Review Board, and they said, "We don't know who this guy Howard is. He's a routing indicator." Well, I went back to the guys in Miami and said, "Was he a real guy who wore a pinky ring and that nice suits and looked Mediterranean and all that, or was he a routing indicator?" And they said, "No, he was a real guy who used to give us bags of cash. I mean, he was the guy."
Right.
So they really don't want to talk about this story.